Good morning and welcome to Dropping Floats. Just cruising down the river road today. Gonna get out and do a little trout fishing, see what I can find. My plan today, we'll see if it works out. We've had high water. The water has been kind of muddied up here lately. I'm gonna go down to Pine Tree Boat Launch and scope it out down there. There's some spots I would like to fish if the water looks good. The White River was dumping a little dirty water into the Deschutes. The Deschutes is actually pretty clear above White River. So I'm gonna cruise on down to Pine Tree Boat Launch and see what the water looks like and see if my plan will come to fruition. Here we are coming down into Pine Tree Boat Launch. The spot I want to check out is just down below it, kind of where some islands are. Well, just as I suspected, there is a lot of color in the water. I might go down and do a couple drifts and see if there's any action, but definitely not going to spend a lot of time here. I'll have to work back up towards town, where the water was substantially clearer. So I decided to go ahead and bag this spot and head upriver, closer to Maupin, above the White River, in search of some cleaner water. It's just too murky and dirty down here. I don't want to waste my time fishing in the mud. But one thing is for certain, it is a beautiful February day in Maupin. Check this out. Well, today's outing is definitely not going as planned. It's been a very slow day. Just got a handful of bumps and no connections with anything yet. This is probably my third spot that I'm gonna try. If I can't find something here, then I'll go home and find something to do. So yeah, wish me some luck here. Finally hooked up with something. Let's see if I can get the camera down. Let's see what we got. Beautiful red side. Beautiful red side. Wow. Look at that, guys. Just beautiful. Well, that's going to conclude my day out fishing today. It was kind of slow, tough conditions. Water was very high, a little cloudy. You know, just on the very fringe of being fishable. But I'm gonna head home, but I figured I would do a quick fly recap on what I was using. So typically this time of year I use really small stuff like that because there's not a lot of big bugs in the water in the winter, or I would use something like this. You know, little midges, little paragons, This has been one of my favorite flies. And then the final fly here is something I'd be using this winter. All very, very tiny. Like I said, there's not a lot of food sources in the river during the winter typically. So I started out with those small things today, was not really getting much of any action on it, so I decided to upscale my flies. You know, it's high, it's pretty murky, so I went to some typical, you know, a Jimmy legs like this, a much bigger attractor pattern that they can see in the water when it's a little murky, and then followed that with something a little bright. This is one of my kind of BS patterns that I have come up with. You know, tungsten pink bead with some little flashy body and a rubber, you know, little leg for movement in the water. It doesn't really supposed to resemble anything, you know, maybe a worm or something, because it is kind of a wormy pink color. And then finally, this is a production fly. It's called a jiggy knuckle dragger. I sell this in my store. I went with that one just because even though it was murky, when the water is high, there can be a lot of green rockworms kind of floating around in the water, and this is kind of the color of those green rockworms. I snagged and lost my last worm pattern, so this was the closest I got. I probably could have cut some of those legs off to get it more streamlined. The success when I went to the bigger flies, I started getting some bumps and strikes. I only landed one very nice red band, so the fishing was definitely slow. I think another couple days of the river should be very fishable. It should be back to clear. You know, once it drops, some too will also aid. And I was targeting this time of year when the water's high. The fish tend to move to like back eddies, slow, soft tails, trying to get out of the current. And it's always good to really fish the edges, because sometimes the fish will move up to the edges of the river near the bank. And I did find success, you know, and I had some action all day, but definitely not an awesome day on the Deschutes like I've had in previous videos. So with that, you know, if you're looking to go fish in the next couple days, the Lower D in Maupin is definitely an option. And if you do that, swing by the store, maupincountrystore.com, and you know, get any of these flies that you see there, and ask any tips if I'm there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next outing.